Time,
yeah, on time, all
calm.
very relaxed and calm, very chatty.
Yeah.
Helena Bonham Carter comes in a little later and brings with her a certain air of chaos.
Just like, oh no, sorry. Oh, Jesus.
Have you just knocked over? You've just knocked over your drink just as we were about to start.
Sorry,
Colin,
I'm really
Helena,
sorry.
Is this an indication?
You can't take the Queen Mum anywhere.
Is this an indication of what it was like during the filming?
This is the thin end of the wedge.
No,
Really?
I tried to. No, I'm really sorry, but I do drink a lot. I will say, not alcohol, but other things, everything else. And this is a very common occurrence.
So surrounded by stains,
We'll clear it up
basically.
later.
Yeah.
Just on the idea of you two working together, and you obviously know each other very well. Is that helpful?
We don't know each other that well.
No.
Well, you
Oh, you
do,
don't?
actually.
No.
We got to know each other reasonably well. I felt that I had met you before.
Well, that's because you had.
Oh, yes, that's true.
And,
but we hadn't
we'd had dinner
been actually in a
a
proper
few times.
conversation.
No, I mean, we'd met
hadn't really.
millions of times.
Oh, we hadn't acted together.
No.
And we hadn't done anything else.
The reason I ask is because obviously in the film, you are the support mechanism.
I am, utterly.
And that was clearly, I mean, if we can try and get to the film, that clearly is a huge part of the film, relationship between the two of you and how that works.
I think that is historical. I think that one of the things that is not controversial that our story addresses is that relationship and the fact that she was immensely supportive of him, you know, throughout their entire lives together.
For Mrs. Majesty.
But even if you leave aside the context that he is the king and these speeches are so important, everyone's had a moment, haven't they? Even if they're not stammerers, where, you know, I don't know, it could be a wedding speech or it could be any kind of, you know, family occasion.
Most actor friends get into a similar and as much terrified state as anybody else. But maybe because we do it more often and we're paid to get through it, you know. We've got certain mechanisms to get through it. But it doesn't take... I mean, he locked himself in a toilet recently.
For years.
He's only recently come out.
That's right, it was a very bleak period of my career.
My wife and I are glad to visit this important...
Take a good deep breath, and up comes Her Royal Highness, and slowly exhale, and down comes Her Royal Highness.
All right, Bertie. It's actually quite good fun.
Mother. Shorten the humming each time. Mother.
Manufacturing district.
Another deep breath, and Jack and Jill
Jack and Jill
went up the hill.
went up the hill.
Now just sway. Perfect.
Will not permit us to
Loosen the shoulders.
ding dong bell, but she's in the well.
Can I ask you about the technique of getting over the stammer? Because there's quite a bit of that in the film, and you have to do quite a lot of those various sort of movements with the mouth, that kind of thing.
I didn't really start with technique.
Feel the looseness of the jaw.
It is purely a journey of the imagination, and you're on your own. You know, your director can help judge what's going on and how much, how little, whether he thinks it's authentic or not. Fortunately, I think the most valuable resource for me was our writer, David Seidler. Now, he was the source of the material we were working with, but he was also somebody who had stammered since childhood. And he was extremely expressive of that experience.
And am I right in thinking that during the filming you were playing a witch in Harry Potter? How did that work?
Well, it was a bit like... As long as I knew if I had the teeth in, then I was the witch. Although, actually, I did try teeth for Queen Mum, because Queen Mum didn't have good teeth. Do you remember that?
I do, yes.
I tried everything, actually. I tried the lenses. I tried it with blue. We don't actually look like the people who were playing. So at the beginning, we tried everything to try and make us... look like them. So we tried blue eyes, I tried the teeth, we tried... then we just threw out the whole lot.
Nothing worked.
Nothing really worked.
And given how, you know, relatively recently she died...
Yeah.
I mean, did that play on your mind a bit?
Well, yeah, because she's so imprinted on people's minds. And then... But then like, I wasn't playing her in her latter years, although some days I felt I was. So I had to... In a way, it was her in the 30s.
But you're presumably both mindful of the fact that there'll be a lot of people who remember these events actually happening in their own lifetimes and remember those speeches happening and hearing them in real time.
And to whom they're important.
Yeah.
You know, you realise that you're treading on sacred territory for some people. And I would say every man, woman and child on the planet would recognise Winston Churchill by his silhouette. Yet somehow the man who was king during that time is probably unknown to most people of my generation, let alone the next generation down. So I had a lot more room to manoeuvre. I mean, as Helena was saying, the Queen Mother was certainly extremely famous in her later years. My character, who was somewhat consigned to the shadows. And that's one of the things that interested me, was to explore into those shadows and see who's there and see what happens if you turn that person into a protagonist.
And can I just ask, have you had any kind of official nod of approval or anything? No little phone calls?
But that's not going to be our business.
But that's not our business.
it's not your
Sort of separation of church and state, if you like. I think it's probably quite healthy that we're not tied to their response and they're not tied to any sort of endorsement or condemnation or distancing themselves. It's just, I think it's just better kept discreetly, at a safe distance.
And one last thought about the Oscars.
A last thought?
It's quite I think over. They're over, darling. Didn't get it.
It's already been talked about.
No, I'll just dodge that and go home and polish my biffer.
You polish your biffer. But I think he will get one. I do think you'll get one.
Bless you.
Yeah.
That is a support mechanism. Yeah.
No, he didn't recognise it, but I've been so supportive of him right from the start.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
It's been very tiring.
When he said he'd go home and polish